Hey everyone, welcome back. If you enjoy these deep dives, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button, give this a like, and maybe drop a comment below. It honestly helps us out a ton. All right, let's dive in. You know that look, right? You say something to your dog, maybe use a certain tone of voice, and bam, the head cocks to the side, those eyes are locked right on you. It's got to be one of the most charming things they do. But what is actually going on in that furry little head? Well, today we're going to put on our detective hats and solve this adorable enigma. So what's the deal? Is it just a cute little habit they figured out gets them extra attention? Or is this a genuine window into how they see, how they hear, and maybe even how they think? Let's follow the clues. Okay, our investigation is going to start with the most practical clues, the ones tied directly to a dog's incredible senses. It turns out this simple little movement might actually be a pretty clever physical trick to help them understand our world and us a whole lot better. So theory number one is all about hearing. You see, a dog's ear flaps, the pinna, they aren't just for show. They're like these highly adjustable little radar dishes. By just tilting their head, a dog can reposition those ears to perfectly zero in on where sound is coming from. But it's more than that. It helps them pick up on the subtle tones in your voice. They are, quite literally, tuning into you. But hearing might only be half the story. The researcher Stanley Coren came up with this really fascinating idea that the answer is, well, it's right on the end of their nose. Think about it. A dog's muzzle, especially if it's a long one, can create a pretty big blind spot right in the middle of their vision, blocking the lower half of our face. And since dogs rely so much on reading our expressions to figure out what we're feeling, getting a clear view is absolutely crucial. And get this, Corin actually put this to the test. He surveyed a bunch of dog owners and found a really compelling pattern. For dogs with long muzzles, like greyhounds or collies, 71% of their owners said they tilted their heads all the time. But for flat-faced dogs, like pugs, that number drops to 52%. I mean, that's a pretty big difference. And it's strong evidence that they're just trying to get a better look at us around their own nose. Okay, so we've got sight and we've got sound. But the story doesn't end there. What if the head tilt isn't just a physical tweak? What if it's actually an outward sign of something much deeper happening inside the canine mind? Our next clue takes us there. And this is where things get really, really cool. Researchers over in Hungary were studying how well dogs could learn the names of their toys, and totally by accident, they stumbled onto this incredible link between the head tilt and a dog's brain really going to work. The study focused on this very elite group of dogs that they called gifted word learners. And these weren't just smart dogs. We're talking about canine geniuses here, mostly border collies who could learn and remember the names for tons of different toys. One of them, a true superstar, could correctly identify 54 out of 59 toys just by name. Incredible. So, here's how the experiment worked. It was pretty simple, but really clever. The owner would ask their dog to go into another room and bring back a specific toy, just by its name. So this wasn't just a hearing test, right? This was a full-on vocabulary quiz. The dog had to hear the word, search its memory for what that word meant, and then go get the right thing. And this slide, right here, this is the big aha moment of the whole study. The gifted dogs, they tilted their heads a whopping 43% of the time when they heard the toy's name. Now, compare that to the typical dogs, who only did it 2% of the time. I mean, look at that difference. That is way too big to be a coincidence. So what does that tell us? It leads to this amazing conclusion. The head tilt is a physical sign of concentration. When one of those gifted dogs heard a word that it knew, it tilted its head as it was accessing its memory, matching the sound to the object. It's basically the dog version of us squinting or furrowing our brow when we're trying to remember something. They're thinking hard. Okay, now, we've been having fun with this, talking about how cute and fascinating this behavior is. And look, 99% of the time, it's exactly that. But we really need to take a quick, serious detour here and talk about when a head tilt is not a good sign, but actually a red flag for a health problem. The huge difference is whether it's brief or constant. The inquisitive tilt we've been talking about is temporary. It happens when they hear something interesting. A medical head tilt, on the other hand, is often constant, always held to one side. If you see that, especially if it comes with a loss of balance, stumbling, weird rapid eye movements, or if they're shaking their head and scratching at their ears, those are alarm bells. These kinds of symptoms can point to some pretty serious stuff. Inner ear infections, something called vestibular syndrome that messes with their balance, or even other neurological issues. So the takeaway here is simple. If your dog's head tilt seems less like a question and more like a permanent condition, please don't wait. Call your vet and get it checked out. All right, we've looked at the sensory clues, the seeing and the hearing. We've looked at the cognitive clues, the thinking and remembering. So, what happens when we put all the pieces of the puzzle together? It's time for the final verdict. So what is the final answer? Well, it's not just one thing, and that's what makes it so cool. The head tilt is this beautifully complex behavior. On one level, yes, it is a physical adjustment. It's your dog literally trying to get a better angle on you with both its ears and its eyes. But on a much deeper level, it's a sign of intense mental effort. It shows that your dog heard a word it recognized as important and is now digging deep into its memory to figure out what you mean. You know, when you really think about it, that head tilt is a huge compliment. It is a sign that your dog is totally locked in, completely engaged, and is trying so hard to bridge that communication gap between our two species. It's this perfect, silent little signal that says, I'm listening, I'm thinking about what you said, I'm trying to understand you. So the next time you're talking to your dog and you see that familiar, charming little tilt, you can really wonder what's going on. Are they just trying to see your smile around their nose? Are they fine-tuning their ears to the sound of your voice? Or did you maybe just say a word that sparked a memory, making them think, hey, I know that one? We really hope this helped you understand your best friend just a little bit better. If you enjoyed this explainer and you want to help us make more of them, there's a link to support our work down in the description. Every little bit truly helps. Thanks so much for watching.